Wait, say that again? The what?
You know, Perry the Platypus from Phineas and
Did
Ferb?
you put it right back where I had it?
Yes.
Exactly in the same spot.
Yep.
Wow.
It's a little bit...
You know what? I keep bumping into you on the weekends. So I don't know what's up with it.
She rolls with an iron fist here. Look at this.
She does. We need it.
Look at this. What?
Welcome to Eye on Sports, where we delve into the biggest Butler County sports topics. I'm your host, Butler Eagle Sports writer Derek Pida. Joining me are fellow sports writer Brendan Howell and Eagle Sports editor Jake Murda Adams.
All right, Derek is off. We are in the middle of vacation for all of us. Summer break for everyone.
Yes, indeed.
We're inching closer for me.
Brendan's last on the totem pole here. John's on permanent vacation.
I'm on permanent vacation. Yes, I am.
How is that permanent vacation like? What's it like?
It's coming along.
It's almost
taken
like
me
a year.
a long time to adjust. I mean, I feel like I'm still adjusting to it. And it's been out close to a year now.
Yeah, it'll be close to a year.
I've been still been working here a little bit, but it's just hard to cut loose totally. Really, it's much harder than I thought it'd be.
John probably texts Derek and Brendan all the time, just like, "What the heck is this idiot doing with my sports department?"
No, I don't text it, but I just think it. I just think it.
John will get bored enough.
But he is watching.
He's always watching.
John will get bored enough where he plays MLB The Show eventually. I'm gonna keep poking him and prodding him about it.
And just you watch when he finally gets into
put a
it.
gun in my head.
It'll be like you know in Ratatouille when he eats the grapes and the cheese together and the that would be if you put a TV in front of John, the controller, and MLB The Show. Instantly, it would just be sparks. Like
I wait for the moment where he dives in for like 3 months straight and then challenges you to a game and just kicks the crap out of you one day.
It's like when Squidward won't eat the Krabby Patty and then he starts eating it.
Yeah,
you guys are totally in a fantasy world right now.
Well, now we're talking
total fantasy world.
SpongeBob. Are you familiar with TikTok, John?
As far as I'm concerned, TikTok is what a clock sounds like.
This is how I'm going to introduce the recap of my Japan trip. The first day that we were in Tokyo, not like having landed, we landed in one day and we just kind of rested, had dinner, and fell asleep at a certain point. The first full day in Tokyo we had, Mallory decided she's going to wear like Converse-esque shoes while walking around Tokyo. We're walking all day. We're not like biking. We're not taking it easy at all. We're going to be like either
but what was
on
her
trains.
outfit?
She was in a dress and or a sundress and these shoes. And I warned her before we left the hotel. I was like, "You sure you want to do this? We're not coming back till 9-10 o'clock tonight." And she's like, "Yeah, I'll be fine." I was like, "Those are not walking shoes." Yes, they are.
It's literally like a slab of rubber and just cloth around it.
As the one woman in the room, I totally concur that even though she probably was regretting it by the end of the night,
it wasn't even the end of the
cute.
night. That doesn't matter when the trip is going to be about walking the entire time. You can't
wear bulky sneakers with this, like a dress like this.
Okay, it was most of the trip she was going to be in like lazier clothing because we were going to be walking around being tourists. So it's not like we're going to try to build in some times to be cute, maybe, but
what time did she realize? I need to know. Was it like 11 a.m.
We left around
something?
like 9. I think we got onto the train from our hotel to like get out into the city around 9:30. By 2 or 3 o'clock, we knew something was wrong. And she's like, "I have a blister on my heel." And I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of saw this one coming." And so we can't change because we are now in downtown Tokyo. We're on the opposite side of the city from our hotel. It's a 45-minute train ride back. And I'm just like, well, we're going to do what we can. So she like stuffed some tissues in there, tried to make it work. The entire rest of the trip was just managing a series of blisters. She did change out of those shoes and walk in sneakers the rest of the week, the 2 weeks we were gone. But that was like, you started with the worst possible option. Like the only thing she could have done worse is wearing heels that she had never worn before and tried to walk around for 14 hours. Yeah. So like this was a step better than that. But she had blisters for the entire 2 weeks.
Oh, you don't even know heel pain. I mean,
I don't. You're right.
It's
I will not
a different
pretend to.
degree of.
But she was in pain for the rest of the trip, which almost derailed things at times, except for conveniently when my wife was shopping for anime stuff. I noticed a very different spring in her step when we were walking through Mandarake, when we were walking through Book Off, when we were walking through all these secondhand stores and things like that. So trip other than that was really good until like the last day when we got some sort of like sinus infection or whatnot that then caused ear pain when we were descending on both of our flights. So that's been fun.
Yeah, that's never good to have an upper, like
No.
a sinus infection or anything in your head or chest when you're flying.
Oh, it
Speaking
hurts
of-
so bad.
When I got my wisdom teeth done, I had like a problem with my right nostril, my nose.
That can
where-
happen.
DVD.
Yeah.
Where it was like a deviated septum, and I couldn't breathe out of the right nostril and my nose really for like 10 years. And then I get my wisdom teeth out, and I can suddenly breathe through both nostrils and my nose.
So it
Look
wouldn't
at
have been
that.
a deviated septum because they'd have to actually physically.
Well,
I have a deviated septum. I
they
had
did
one
say
this
it-
way, and then
yeah.
when I got hit in the face and it broke, it pushed it that way, and I was like,
They did say
Awesome.
we've talked about this before. Yeah, like in the X-ray, you can tell that this channel is like much thinner than this one, and they said that the nerves are connected, and that was like one of the possible side effects. It's better now. I still snore at night, but it's better now.
but great trip, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great
You-
trip other than the deviated septum.
You should have come in here and it like tricked John. You should have you watched Cars 2? Like
Yeah, I've seen it, but it's
you
been a
should
long
have
time.
you should have come in and given like the plot of like Mater when he has a wasabi instead of the mint ice cream. Like trick John into thinking that was your trip. You know what
Dude.
I'm talking about? And then he goes into like the bathroom and he's like
He's giving us
surprised
a
at the-
Cars reference, John.
You may as well
He hasn't even seen Rocky. He hasn't seen.
exactly. He's
He
talking
has
about these-
Spaceballs,
talking about these
like, what are we
Cars 1 and
talking
Cars 2.
about?
That's what
Caddyshack.
he's talking about.
He hasn't seen Caddyshack. Get out of
You
here.
haven't seen
We just had the
Caddyshack? Have you
U.S.
seen it?
Open.
Have you seen Animal House?
No.
I haven't seen Animal House. To be fair.
What?
I haven't.
Wow.
I've seen it.
come
I've seen
on.
clips, but not the full movie.
Belushi, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Do you know what
Wow.
Napoleon Dynamite is, John? Stupid
I've-
movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid movie.
Yeah.
Do you know?
What do you-
Nap-
what's
are
it?
you- have you seen
Napoleon
Napoleon
Dynamite.
No,
Dynamite?
I have not.
Okay.
He's never seen it, so
I've
he
never seen it.
can't.
No, I
no,
can't- I
he
can't make
can't.
that
No,
reference.
no. He's not picking your side until he
No,
sees
no,
it.
I'm not picking your side at
We're
all. You
having
haven't
a
even
mo-
seen a Rocky movie yet.
Yeah, we're gonna have a movie marathon. Anyways, why do you want to go through your photos?
Yeah, I picked like 15 out of the 1,700 I think that we took. I thought this was kind of a fun sample of what it was like. There's some sports in this too because I made sure to include some stuff that I wanted to do in this trip of ours. So the first day that we were out, the first photo that I have here is of the Tokyo Tower, but there is a manhole cover there because Tokyo takes great pride in decorating some of their like infrastructure, and a series of manholes is decorated in Sailor Moon theming, which
I like there
Mallory's
should
a
be music
huge
to this.
a huge fan of Sailor Moon. So this is what we were doing on the day that she decided to get blisters on her feet. Chasing manhole covers. This is one of them. I picked this photo because Tokyo Tower is in the background. I thought it was kind of cool. So there were 6 of them that we had to get. And by had, I mean she made this a part of our trip, and I tagged along taking photos, but couldn't take photos of her taking photos of the things. I just had to take photos of the environment. So this is one of the manhole covers outside of a... Was this the one outside of the school? No, this is outside of a water utility treatment plant or something like that. Also among our trip was chasing down Pokemon centers. Mallory is a big fan of Pokemon. Not that I can't sit there and say that I'm not. I grew up watching Pokemon, playing the games, stuff like that. So I am a child of this era, but I'm not nearly as much of a fan of it as she is. And Tokyo and all of Japan have like 13 of these Pokemon centers, which are basically just stores. But they have theming and stuff like that. We went to 4 of them, 3 in Tokyo, 1 in Osaka. This is just one. I'm not going to show other photos of them because I'm not going to drive you guys insane with this. But this is one of... Brendan, do you know anything Pokemon? It would have been a little bit before
Very
you.
loosely. It was
Okay.
like a show that I would shut off when it would come on.
Okay.
I know Squirtle
Wait, which
and
one?
Pikachu
Pokemon.
Oh, I've never
and
watched that.
Charizard. And
Okay, so you probably didn't watch the first movie, but this is like a famous part of the first movie where they like unveil Mewtwo, who's the big bad of the whole thing, and he's in this test tube because he's genetically engineered. So they recreated this in the store, which is kind of cool. Like some of the design work that they would do is really neat. I got some photos of the city because the way that they design their cities and the architecture is just unlike anything in the U.S. It's so cool and but so weird. It's I want to say foreign in like the most interesting way, but this is just one of the streets that we were walking down. I thought it was cool just seeing like some of the advertising and whatnot and the giant caricatures that they'll do. This was Shibuya Crossing, which is the famous crossing in Tokyo that they have. I wanted to try to go up into one of the observation decks, but we didn't get to it while we were on this trip. But Mallory's got a video of us walking across it because everyone does that. So that was kind of cool. We went one of the days to Universal Studios Harry Potter tour, which was really kind of neat. I've been to like the Universal Studios in Florida, but this is different. This is just like a lot of the set stuff from the movies. So this was cooler to me than going to like the theme park. Theme park's nice to like go on a ride or two, but I'm not a huge roller coaster guy. So this is kind of cool. They reset the Gryffindor Common Room. I have like 200 photos from just this alone. There was a million things I could take photos of, but this is pretty neat. The next photo is me in the Great Hall with the Tri-Wizard Cup behind me. I'm tired, but I got my birds on. So I walked around actually taking photos of me with Ravenclaw stuff as well, just because I thought it was fun. Birds. And I texted some friends just saying, go Birds, in my Eagles gear. But it's the 20th anniversary of the fourth movie, so they had a whole bunch of theming around that, a whole bunch of set stuff with the fourth movie out. And this was one of the first ones that we saw, and we're already tired, and this is like day 3 of our trip, or day 4.
You wanted to come home is what you're saying?
I did not.
No.
Mallory and I made the comment last night that the trip felt like it lasted 5 minutes and also 5 years at the same time.
That's how vacations go.
It was so bizarre. So this one is the big one, Sensoji, which is like the famous one that you see a lot of photos of. Like if you see a shrine in Tokyo, like on Google or whatnot, this is the one that comes up, and it's not like the best photo that I could have gotten, but they have like the big lanterns in different spots, and there's parts inside of that you can't take photos of because it's very ceremonial. It's very tied to their old Shinto religious beliefs. So there's some stuff that you like respectfully need to not take photos of, but it was really cool, and it's super, super packed. So like this is more of a tourist trap, and way behind us is a whole row. Like it's just a walkway of shops, and it's almost all tourist trap crap, but it's still kind of cool, just the volume of people that walk through. And it's like part of my trip, my version of the trip was going to see some of these different shrines throughout we went to 3 cities. We went to Tokyo, Osaka. We made a quick like 8-hour trip up to Kyoto, which is not far from Osaka. And we were also around Fuji 5 Lakes. But that's not really a city. It's like a rural area. But we saw a couple different shrines, or I saw a couple different shrines, because there were times where Mallory just kind of sat there and waited. This is Meiji Jingu, which was really cool. He was one of the last emperors before they democratized after the wars. But this is a really massive park in the middle of the city. This is our hotel in Fuji 5 Lakes. This is really cool. This is the first day we got in, and it was super cloudy and rainy, so it wasn't the best. But then like the next 2 photos, you'll see Mount Fuji in. The first one is from a pagoda that's like, I went off to the side to take this photo, but those are cherry blossom trees down there. It's obviously past blossom season, but Mount Fuji's way in the back. It's covered by clouds in this photo, but the next one is much easier to see from our hotel because the clouds clear.
Yeah.
It is super cool.
That was from your hotel?
That was from our hotel, our ryokan. We went to a ryokan, an onsen ryokan. It's like Western, Eastern hybrid instead of like super traditional Eastern. So that was like the middle of our trip, like a 3-day detour to kind of relax a little bit. And then the next part's going to be when we were in Osaka again. This was another shrine in Kyoto when we took a short trip. Just a really interesting area. I wish I could have walked around this way more, but we didn't have a ton of time. And then we went to an anime museum after this, which that was actually cool. Or manga museum. It was really cool to see that, even though I didn't know much of it. That's much more up Mallory's alley. But this is when we were up in Kyoto. I don't think I have a photo from the manga museum. Oh, this is the Hanshin Tigers game. This is the main topic for today. Nippon baseball is so much better than MLB. It's not even funny. Not in terms of the talent level, in terms of the environment. Those people treat baseball like college football, but without the like rowdiness and the overly drunkenness. It's so much fun.
Oh, baseball's huge here.
It's all chanting the entire time that your team is up to bat. You're chanting. So we were there.
People are there to watch the game and be invested in the game and not just drink and eat food.
Or play around on their cell phones while the game's on or something like that.
All of it. Yes.
Yep.
Right. So we went. It's a Hanshin Tigers home game against the Orcs Buffalo, who's also in Osaka, and we went rooting for the home team just because we have no allegiance to either team. But now I'm a Hanshin Tigers fan. They won 1-0 in walk-off fashion in the 10th inning. With the home fan section is in right field, but basically the entire stadium is the fan section outside of one section in left field, which is dedicated to Orcs fans, similar to like how you'll have student sections at college football.
It's quite a crowd there too.
Oh, it's sold out. It's sold out.
Okay.
We were cheering during every bottom of the inning, doing like all I could do was just hit the boomsticks.
Right,
I couldn't say anything. I don't know what the chants were. I didn't do my homework, but it was so awesome. It was an awesome environment. definitely recommend doing this. And I wish MLB was better than that. This was Nintendo World in Universal Studios Osaka, which was not as nice as we would have liked. But it was cool to see that. So there was a photo of Princess Peach's castle. Yeah. It was very nicely decorated. This is Amanda Rake, which is like these we have like thrift stores and stuff like that. They take thrift stores, especially when it comes to like anime and manga, to a completely different level. They're like, you guys go to the card convention sometimes. Imagine a card convention that's permanent, that is always rotating new stuff in and out, and there's like multiple stores within the building. This is what one of these was. This is Nakano Broadway, and this was a Mandarake store or series of stores that was like 3 stories high. It was huge, and there's a bunch of these things around Tokyo. We got back to Tokyo for a day, and this is one of the things that we did. And I think there was one more photo.
I think he came up with a pretty good idea there of an all-time card show.
Yeah, there you go. And then
I saw the photo of you and Mallory with these guys that you posted.
I tortured Mallory with this, but this is cool. I will never do this again, but like doing it one time was one of those like very neat. We went to a sumo practice in the afternoon of our last day, and it was just really interesting just to watch. It's very different from what like we're used to a high school practice looking like.
Sure.
I thought it was going to be way more intense, but a lot of it is like 8 dudes standing around as 2 guys do a drill, and that's it for an hour and a half. Now there's more training that goes into this stuff outside of what we saw, but it was just kind of neat. I wanted to see it one time just to say that I did and kind of watch what it's like, but it's really interesting.
I'm curious, how did you find a sumo practice?
It is everywhere. That's the thing.
Oh, really?
There's like dozens of these. They're called stables.
Mm-hmm.
There's dozens of them around Tokyo alone, and you can just sign up for like for foreigners. You have to sign up through like third-party tours and whatnot.
Right.
Although I found a way to do it a little bit more directly through this specific stable. But you sign up. You usually like meet people at the closest train station to that stable, which is usually like 5-minute walk away. It's not that far. And they just walk you in and you sit for an hour and a half. You have to be very quiet. Like you can take photos and video, no flash.
Okay.
Just, meant to be respectful and everything like that. And they go through their drills, and it's just really interesting. The guys who run the stable, each stable is a former, like basically the equivalent of a black belt in karate.
Right.
Like the sumo culture, you're not allowed to even be a stable master unless you've reached a certain point as a competitor when you were competing. So like, unlike in U.S. culture where you can have a guy that went to like D3 college but playing football as a defensive back and then become like the greatest NFL coach of all time, that is not possible in Tokyo, in Japan. If you are that bad playing, you are not allowed to be a master, or own a stable or anything like that. So that was our last day, and then we got sick and flew home for 20 hours and have been recovering for the last week. But that was what we did. It was really cool.
Beautiful.
The season got truncated about a week before we thought it was going to, so we kind of ran out of material to talk about today.
Yeah, so you came in and you saved us here. So it would have been talking about
those pictures
Steelers.
are gonna look awesome.
We've been talking about Steelers mandatory minicamp and not much else.
And Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I saw that saw that on notification while I was away, and I just laughed. The one thing to talk about today is we released the boys tennis all stars on Monday, so 3 days from when this episode will drop. North Catholic's Justin Garvey, we named Athlete of the Year for boys tennis. Pretty easy pick because he was the only one who made the state championship tournament. North Catholic's team made the state championship tournament as well, and they made the quarterfinals for the first time in program history. You also went in with a couple teammates of his, Alex Lopez-Fober and Alex Weber. Butler's Andrew Bochy was probably like, I was the one responsible for putting this team together. Bochy was probably the one that gave Garvey a run for the money for player of the year. So Bochy had a really good year. 3A, probably our best athlete in the 3A field, and he's a 4-year starter at singles 1.
Mm-hmm.
So that team is out. We'll have the rest of the spring all-stars coming out in a couple weeks. We'll talk a little bit more about that too. But that was just kind of where we are right now with the season. And I've been gone now for almost 3 weeks. What was any other final thoughts that we had from just the way that the season, now that the season's over, we're done with 24, 25.
Your first full year is done. That's what I thought about it.
Just about, yeah. Actually, yeah, my first full year. You're right. Yeah.
First full high school sports season, anyways.
I went on vacation on basically the anniversary of starting here.
Yeah. my input here on the tennis is I don't know much about tennis. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's like the one sport I've never covered in person here. But having tried my hand at tennis in gym class in high school, it's impressive that they play that the way they can, because I couldn't even really return a serve like that. That's a big argument, right? Like some men are like, I could return a Serena Williams serve. It's like,
yeah, right.
She'd punch the ball through your chest.
I would be dodging it. I would be running the opposite way because I am not hitting something that's running 100 miles at me. So
you would hear the ball, the sizzle past you.
If she decided to miss. If she wanted to.
Well, I won't speak on tennis, but as long as we're on the subject of spring sports, I will say I've been an advocate for a long, long time. And Derek and I know Brendan, I think even does not agree with my way of thinking. I've always looked at playoffs as you make the playoffs, you lose a playoff game, your season's over. I mean, whether you lose in a WPIAL, whether you lose in a District 9, or whether you lose in a first round of stage, when you lose in postseason play, you're done. But that being said, and I still do believe it, but that being said, I did feel bad for the girls softball team, girls softball of Seneca Valley.
Yeah.
When they got beat, 1-0 was it, by Hempfield in the Whitfield finals, and then they're denied an opportunity to go to the state tournament. The reason I felt bad about that was because it's not that way in other classes. In other classes, they take at least the top 2 teams move on. I don't understand why they didn't do it in 6A. I know there's very few teams in 6A, but still, to me, the Raiders are a classic case of that's a team that 2 of the last 3 years they were denied a chance to go to the states
by the same team by one run.
Yes, and I thought in both cases they were a legitimate challenger for the state title. I mean, I thought that they were that good. So I guess I guess I have a bit of a conflict here. I still believe when you lose in the playoffs, you should be out. But I also believe, if you're not going to have that in all classes, then in 6A they should take the top 2 teams.
That's a team I talked about a few weeks ago with you and Derek. That my first year here, my first spring, anyways, I covered that team through the playoffs. Remember,
Right.
I was worried I was gonna be laid out in Chambersburg, the semifinal, and I cooked out in the sun that day. Then you had me go to Penn State afterwards to cover them, and they lost pretty close game then. And you figured they're going to make it back at that point because you have a freshman who's like the best pitcher in the state already at that point.
Yeah. Now, the other side of this is you lose in the Whitfield final, and you feel bad about that, but they stranded 12 runners, I think it was, 9 to 12 runners or something like that. Don't strand 12 runners. Push a couple runs across. Yeah. But so like I said, I have a conflict that way, but I do legitimately feel bad for that program because I think 2 of the last 3 years they were denied a chance they could have won state titles both those years.
You also look at the fact that they wouldn't pitch Lexi Hames. Though, what other sport can you completely take out the other team's best player and not let them even like touch the ball, hit the ball? I don't think there's another sport where you prevent the other team's star player from doing anything the whole
baseball.
game just
you can do it in
because you
baseball.
feel like it.
You can do it in baseball, same thing.
Baseball and softball are
right.
hand in hand. But
sure.
Yeah, I think that's stupid.
I have a solution for this problem. The golden at bat.
That's it.
I think we've talked about
bat,
I think we taled about this on the show the last time when John was on. This is like the golden at bat. Like yeah. So anytime in the game, anytime in the game, you get one chance. It doesn't matter what inning you decide to do. You get one chance to bring whatever batter you want into the batter's box. Whether they're up next or they just were up again, like you can bring them up 2 times in a row. Doesn't matter. They get to bat again.
So they'd walk her again. They would just walk her again.
Well, then that's 2 runners on.
Well, how'd that solve the problem? But how'd that solve the problem? But they'd runners on base the whole game.
So were you this passionate when the NFL changed the kickoffs last year to be like the XFL kickoffs? Were you this passionate about that, or is it just baseball?
No, I actually like the kickoff rule because it's trying to bring the kickoff back. It's trying to bring the kickoff went away in the NFL. It went away. They had to do something. I actually like that change.
I miss Devin Hester's in the NFL a lot.
Cordell Patterson is not Devin Hester.
He used to be.
So this is what I like. Obviously, I don't know what happened in that game, but let's say that the Raiders had like 2 runners on in the 6th inning, or maybe they had the bases loaded. You bring Lexi Hames back up, and it's like, do you walk her to walk a run in? Do you Barry Bonds treatment her? Because Barry Bonds has been walked with the bases loaded once. I think twice, actually.
No, more than that, yeah. He was.
So do you do that, or do you try to get her out and see if you can get her out without doing any damage? That's where it would make it really fun.
He'd walk her.
Well, probably
I
still.
mean,
It's
seriously,
probably still.
they would still walk her. They would.
I don't disagree with you, but I think that just throwing in that wrinkle would make it more interesting.
So part of the show title is Lexi Hames is Barry Bonds.
She's probably softball's version of Barry Bonds. Yes.
the Whippeal, yeah.
Well, you see in college, like softball players are making money now. You see what Texas Tech is doing, where they have like all this money and
Yeah.
they have money in football and softball, and they're paying softball players to come and play for the team because they want to beat Texas and Oklahoma. So,
You know what? Especially like I know there's a lot of people that gripe about NIL, but especially for those girls who they're trying to bring back a professional softball league, which I know has existed off and on in the past. There's a new one this year that's starting up.
It's
no
very
guarantee.
small.
Yeah,
very small.
Very small.
Right.
No guarantees that it's going to last. Obviously, like any fledgling league.
Right.
Let those girls get their bag because there is no professional outlet for them after college. So, like, someone wants to pay them $2 million, $1 million to come pitch for them. Go for it. Get.
I don't know if you guys have
can.
watched. I don't know if you guys have watched this, but the NCAA softball playoffs are awesome to watch.
I've seen them.
They are really fun.
I've never been like that into. I don't know why. Like, I guess maybe because most of the teams that are really good in college baseball and softball are down south, so I have like no allegiance to them whatsoever. Like, if you were to tell me that there's like a Pennsylvania or Northeastern school that's going to be good year in and year out, I might get behind them. But I don't know. I've always been a fan regionally, I guess. Like most fans are.
speaking of smaller leagues, I told you like earlier this year I paid attention to the UFL. I stopped paying attention at a certain point. I was like, I'm not watching this. I think they scored more points in the championship game than like they scored combined the rest of the years, 58-34.
Wow.
You tune in to watch a game during the season, and be like 17-6.
Right,
Like, I'm
right.
not watching this. Like this is boring. I might go through and rewatch all the games on YouTube when I'm bored. We'll see.
You have to be bored really bad to go back and do that.
I go back and watch like
Really
NFL
bad.
games from like 2010.
You're becoming Derek.
Let's see what you think about this, okay? If you don't like it, we'll just use the regular music. Hold on.
I'm going to be a team player here today.
This is Stump Jake.
All right, let's see if I have my brain working today.
Let's see. I want to get the wording here right.
I'm
Okay.
0-1, I believe. I think I lost the only time I've made a guest appearance on this show.
So who is the all-time world record holder for home runs?
World record holder. Okay.
World record.
Okay. All right. Well, I obviously know it's not Barry Bonds. I'll take my voluntary break here for a little bit to see if I can think of who the answer is, but I'm almost positive I will be 0-2 at the end of today.
I still think it is Barry Bonds.
World record.
Yep. I think it. Obviously, it could be wrong, but I think it is.
All right, I'll consider that. But I will think about this for a moment. There's going to be someone out there that I'm not thinking of, or that I just would never know.
Sadahuru O. I know it's not him because he got passed before. Or is it him? Did I just blow your question? I just blew your question.
It's
Sadahuru O. Is it really?
Yeah,
I thought he got passed up.
Yeah, he has 868 career home runs.
That's
Okay,
appropriate, Laura. That's
I blew
absolutely
the question.
appropriate.
I blew your question. I
Is the
apologize for that.
Yomiuri Giants still a team?
Yeah,
still
yeah,
a
that's
team.
the
Yeah,
New
they're
York
still a
Yankees of Nippon League. Yeah.
So
This is-
you have the hat?
yeah, it's no, this is Hanshin Tigers. It's that one, the one next to
Hawks. Oh, this one. Right
this one. Yeah, the one there. I actually haven't talked about what those hats are yet.
By the
on
way,
show.
the coolest logo in the Nippon League is the Tokyo Swallows have the coolest.
They
logo.
have a pretty
They
cool
have
one.
the coolest logo in the league.
I haven't seen that. I didn't see one there while I was looking, so I wasn't going to be able to get all of the hats, but I tried to get a few of them, and I was going to try to get one for a friend of mine too, and I ended up finding 5. So we went to the Tokyo Giants or the Yomiuri Giants store. I said Tokyo. They're in Tokyo.
Yeah.
They're basically the New York Yankees of the Nippon League. They play in the largest city in the country. They're considered like the giant of the sport, basically. So there's a lot of New York Yankees vibes to them. So we got that hat pretty easily at the team store. But then finding hat stores was not as easy as I would have thought, especially in Tokyo, like as big of a city as it is with multiple pro teams. And then I couldn't even get a Hanshin Tigers hat anywhere in Osaka, or when I say anywhere, it's not like I was running around the entire city looking. We didn't have that much time, but I couldn't get one while we were in Osaka, and I ended up finding it basically at the last moment in Tokyo on our last day in another New Era store. So I've got those two. I got an Oryx Buffalo hat because I was like, yeah, screw it. I got to get one of those. That's pretty cool. Even though they were playing the rival team. The one that's really neat is the Carp because it looks like the Cincinnati Reds hat.
That's the coolest nickname in the league.
Yeah.
That's like the Hiroshima Carp.
That one's pretty sweet. I like that one.
Yep.
There's also the Hawks, which I believe is the retro one
Perry
there.
the Platypus.
Okay.
Yeah, that is no longer their hat, but I liked it a lot. And I was like, there's no other hat like this in the game, so I'm going to get it. I really wanted to get an Eagles hat from Kakuten, I think it is, but I couldn't find one. And then the last one that I have is this one, which I think is, I got to pull this back up. I'm doing a bad job of hosting today. It's not the Bay Stars. I think that one's the Saibu Lions, if I've got it right. But I'm not looking at the right hat right now.
So I've got a question, Jake, for you. So you guys went and attended a Japanese baseball game.
Yep.
How did the quality of play compare to Major League Baseball?
Oh, it was. So the one interesting thing is, I don't know if you noticed it in the photo, that's an all dirt infield.
Yes.
Which made the fielding a little bit trickier. Like we saw a couple plays, it was like, okay, MLB Park, that guy's making that play, or that guy's not making that play for whatever reason.
Right.
So we did see a really good 6-4-3 double play. Like guy had to backhand it sliding over. The shortstop had to backhand it sliding over between the gap to third base. I'd say it's like quad A. Like there are definitely some guys there that could play in like replacement level-ish or above in MLB. But none of them are slouches. Like you're not looking at some 2A minor leaguer who's like 31-year-old journeyman there. Like those are
number one. You only have 12 teams over there too.
Yeah.
So because what I've always wondered, and maybe you can answer this or at least take a shot at this, if you took the best team in that league and brought them over to the major leagues and put them in a major league season, 162 game schedule, how would they fare? Would they win 50 games? Would they win 90 games? Would they win 80 games?
They'd be better than the Rockies this year.
I certainly hope so. Yeah, I certainly hope so.
So it was a really tough sample size. Like Hanshin, right? When we went there,
I know it's
Hanshin
only
was
one
the best,
game you saw.
Yeah,
So I understand that.
and Hanshin was the best team in the league this year at that point. I haven't checked the standings in a little bit. I do want to try to actually follow the league a little bit more now that I've been. I think if you took an all-star team of Nippon, and there might be some Nippon fan out there who's going to like rail against me and tell me how wrong I am, and please do so if that's the case. I think if you took an all-star team of them and brought them to MLB, that you could absolutely have a competitive team out there.
Well, they won the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
They did win that. I know that's a small sample size, but still.
But you're
they
talking,
did win it.
You're talking taking the best players in USA too and putting them on one team, and they're beating those guys.
Yes.
So like, I think I would bet some of the reason why more guys aren't over in MLB is like the pay rate is not enough to justify moving halfway across the world away from family and everything that you know.
The players who came over here are the players who are making multi-millions.
Yeah, who are the best.
They're the
of
best
the best
of the best, right?
And
exactly.
So like it was the talent level, like the game itself was absolutely great. What takes it over the top for me is like you've seen the World Baseball Classic, the last one where like the Cuban and Puerto Rican fans and all that are like just going nuts. There's bands in the stands and everything like that. Right. That is what that's like on a night-to-night basis. And I wish that MLB had more of that because it's so like I love going to a baseball game and I usually take a scorebook and I'm keeping stats throughout the game. I don't know. I've been doing that since I was 4. But it's so much more electric. Like when a regular season game 67 or whatever it was that we were there is sold out and everyone's going nuts on a Friday night. It's so much better than what it's like in mid-June on like, and even a Sunday afternoon game in MLB when you're supposed to have more people there because the kids are coming because it's, you know, a Sunday afternoon and not
like in early June when the Pirates are sweeping the Phillies.
Yes. All three of you have already made a comment about this within 20 minutes of seeing me. I love it.
Okay.
No, it's so like it's such a better environment. If you could take the quality of baseball and MLB, you can combine it with like the environment of Nippon. Plus also the food and the concession prices in Nippon are so much better. Like we got a meal for
They almost have to be.
Yeah, they got a meal for like $20, and that was like I got 2 beers for like $7-8. I'm talking US.
Yeah,
like I couldn't get one beer in the US for $8. So it all around better environment. We're entering summer here. I got a question for you guys at the end of this little spiel, and I've been kind of spieling the entire time, except for when Brendan's been bogarting the show today because he's talked more than I've heard him talk in like 6 months on the show. Coming up this summer, John probably knows a little bit about what's going on. Brendan and I are more in tune with things in the office. Some things for readers to look forward to. Next week, male, female athletes of the year. Brendan and I Derek and I are working on the story. Derek's on vacation. He'll be back next week. Then Brendan will be gone because it's vacation time for us, as we said at the top of the show. Athletes of the year being announced, second year that we've done this. Lexi Hames was our female athlete of the year last year. Drew Griffith, thank you. I was playing on his first name.
All you have to do is look over your left shoulder.
Oh, that's right.
There he is.
Drew Griffith was our male athlete of the year. Lexi Hames still back, so she has a chance to be our girls repeat athlete of the year. I won't spoil what our nominations will be, but you can look forward to that in the Butler Eagle on Monday and Tuesday next week if everything goes well. We'll talk about that and hopefully have both nominees on the show next week. That's the plan. Working on that right now. We're going to have the rest of our spring All-Stars coming out the week of June 30th. Anything that you guys are excited to talk about with that coming up? Brendan, I know you're working on a couple of those teams. Derek has a couple of the others. But anything we want to tease to with readers and fans about that, or still a little too early?
I got Freeport's stats and nominations today for baseball, and they have one kid who I think is kind of a shoe-in. We thought it was going to be a kid from Seneca Valley being what they did in terms of postseason success, but looking at the season this kid had, I got his number today, so I'm kind of excited to talk to him, and turns out he was injured to start the season, I guess, and he cleared, so we'll kind of dive into that, but I definitely think I'll be pounding the table for him to be the player of the year there.
And then the next big thing that we have summer project-wise, and this is the first time I think we're going to be talking about it on the air, is tentatively calling this 25 and 2025. You guys have been part of this project. John, we looped you in because we could not do this project without you.
Stroke his ego.
I think it would be really stupid of me to try to do this without John's expertise, and I would deserve some sort of chastisement for it if I did. Mid-July, week of July 14th, I think is what that is, we're going to be doing a project all week where we look back at the first 25 years of this century. There's going to be some feature stories about like some things that have happened in that time with Pullman Park renovations, North Catholic coming to town, maybe some stuff that we're still working on a little bit. But the centerpieces of this are going to be top 25 lists. Top 25 male athletes ranked 1 through 25. Female athletes, coaches, and teams of the last 25 years. So voting is still going on. You guys still have your ballots to hand in. Derek handed his in before he went on vacation. But this is like something we've never attempted before. I'm probably driving you guys up a wall right now. We had a meeting about this just to narrow it down from several hundred contenders to a few dozen contenders. But any thoughts and spoiler-free things that you guys want to share about what you're looking forward to with this project?
Well, my ballot's done. I haven't
cool
considered it yet, but my
John,
my
love it.
I just completed it the other day, actually.
Brendan, why are you so far behind?
And I will tell you this: there's so many different directions you could go with this, and I knew that coming into the project when you explained what you wanted to do. And I really think it's a neat project, by the way.
And it changed shape so many times.
But,
it probably drove me nuts.
But I'm saying I could probably go back and do this, and I would come up with probably, if I tried this 4 different times, I would probably come up with 4 totally different lists.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so, but what I weighed my ballot on was basically 3 points. Whether they stood out in multiple sports, if they're a one-sport athlete, how dominant were they in that one sport?
Yeah.
And what did they do post high school? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it was an absolute on all 3, but those are the 3 different tangents that I used in doing my ballot. But it was still difficult. I mean, the male and female athlete portion of the all 4 of them really. I mean, we've had state championship teams, we've had dominant teams, we've had coaches that have won multiple titles, we've had coaches that have taken like the Cinderella teams of champion. There's so many different ways to do this, and but I've had a lot of fun with it. Spent a lot of time on it. I mean, my ballot, believe me, when you see it, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, I put a ton of thought into it. I mean, I really
Could be so many
hit this
scribbles
hard.
next to
oh,
it.
you know, I really hit this hard. In fact, it's in this notebook here, and I really hit it hard. And the way that I did it, I looked at the ballot and I started writing down names. Okay. Well, this person's definitely in the top 25. This person. I started going a little bit, jotting down names. And the funniest part was the male athlete. Okay, let's see what I got here. I had like 42 names written down. And okay, I gotta lump up 17 of these. You got to be kidding. And that's it. But that's the hard it is. I mean, I could throw out names, but I'm not going to because other guys might have voted for some of these people. But I looked at people who weren't even on my ballot, and I'm oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's just.
I mean, Derek made a point.
Unbelievable.
Derek made a point last week to me. He's like, I had to leave state championship teams off the team in the top 25.
Yeah.
We have more than 25 state champions, and that's not counting like little leagues and things like that. Just high school PIAA and some non-PIAA sanctioned teams. Like there are more than 25 from the last 25 years. He's like, I had to leave them off.
Yes, I had to leave off schools' all-time leading scorers in different sports off my ballot. It's like. It's crazy, but what it made me realize from a selfish point of view is how fortunate I was to be here for that entire duration, and I saw pretty much all these athletes play, and I look back, man, I saw a lot of stuff here, and it really made me think. It made me think about that, which made me really really grateful to have my time here. No,
Nice.
it
I'm
did
gonna see
not tear
teardrops
up.
on his
Did not tear
ballot.
up. Did not tear up. But it did make me grateful that I was able to be here for that stretch of time.
What about you, Brennan?
I am still going through it. I'm finishing up tonight, hopefully. So it's tougher for me being that I've lived here basically my whole life, right? But what I've been saying is I've only been around for 4 years of these athletes, and I'm aware of guys like Ethan Morton and some of those guys like living around here. But I'm gonna be honest, even though I read the paper when I was in high school, it was mostly just to check what you were writing about us on Friday nights after we lost by 35 points. So, I'm aware of some of the athletes. It's going to be different for me. It's kind of like Jake, where he sees the stats and you guys got to see them actually play.
That's why, like, when we were originally putting together ballots, I told you guys, like, send as much information as you can, because selfishly I need it. Like,
Sure.
So like, so there was multiple times both during like the nomination process, and I spent a lot of time this weekend while still kind of getting over jet lag and everything, looking at these ballots. And I have the advantage of being able to look at Derek's ballot after I voted and be like, okay, how far off was I from him? So like, there's definitely some things where I disagreed with. There was a couple others where he and I were more in line, which gives me a little bit of like solace of like, okay, I'm not totally naive here. But I was more than once I'm sitting there going, I wonder which direction John and Derek are voting, because they have the benefit of having seen most, if not all, of these athletes. And I've seen Lexi Hames. I've seen Drew Griffith for a hot second. Like, that's about it. And so then it was also at times I'd sit there and think, who has this easier, me or John and Derek? John and Derek know these guys, these girls.
I think we have the benefit of like, if ignorance is bliss for us, kind of. Not that we're ignorant, but it's like we're not like weighing one against the other by terms of like, I really like this story I wrote on him, and I really like what he was able to do. We're looking at the facts.
Yeah, and hopefully a deep enough row of facts. But it was definitely like I was going a lot like, what are John and Derek doing right now?
Oh yeah, but I'll guarantee you that even myself and Derek's ballots, I'll guarantee you, are going to be totally different, because like I said, you can go in so many different directions here.
Yeah,
I mean, all four of these ballots, I'll be shocked if all four aren't radically different from each other.
I think there's definitely a couple. Like, we have our top, like, going through the athletes. I think there were a few that, when I count up your ballots too, or I'm going to be like, yeah, we were all kind of in consensus on a handful here.
Oh, there's going to be names that are going to be on all four top 25,
and in similar spots.
But
too,
but I'll bet you the top 10s even are going to be different.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I could see that. It'll be cool. So we'll have that coming out in mid-July. Plan with that as far as the podcast goes is we're going to have some mini episodes, hopefully bringing on some of these number one picks that we have and talking to them for 10 or 15 minutes here. We're going to be on summer break a little bit at times. Laura's putting together a special episode kind of looking back at our first year as a revamped version of the show as officially Ion Sports. And then late July, we're going to be on a hiatus as we get ready for football season. And then we're going to have some different stuff coming out during football training camps and fall sports training camps that we're still sorting out a little bit. So we're going to be on for the next couple of weeks here leading into the All-Star stuff. We'll have a specialty episode just looking back at what we did for our first year. And then we'll have our special project series on 2025 coming out after that. So we'll still be around for most of this summer, but in a little bit of a different fashion. Guys, any last thoughts that you have on, like, or anything you're excited about for this summer, whether your own summers or coming up with Butler Eagle Sports-ish things going on? I mean, it's quiet right now. It's summer break.
I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to really two things. I'm really curious about Paul Skeens and the Pirates. I mean, not the Pirates themselves.
Just Paul Skeens.
We all know what kind of season the Pirates are headed for here, but I am curious to see if Paul Skeens is going to actually win the Cy Young Award with a record of maybe 9-13 or something like that. Which is no Cy Young winner has ever had a losing record in baseball history. It actually could
just
happen this
one
year.
500
It actually
record.
could happen this year.
Yeah.
It really. That's one thing. And the other thing, we go back to the NIL and the transfer portal and all that stuff. Slippery Rock University had the top 2 or 3 receivers leave. Their quarterback's gone. Their running backs are gone. They're gonna have to totally restructure and revamp their offense. So I'm kind of curious when they get into camp what that's gonna look like.
You read my story on how they recruit? Did you see that?
I did.
Did you like it?
I did. It's good. I liked your story on Braylon Littlejohn too. By the way.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that today.
Yeah.
I took over for that. I'm sorry.
I'm hoping a lot of other people also like that story. I can mention.
Good
it
to
real
see
quick.
him back.
Just talking to him, like it kind of went dark over the past year with him. Like we didn't know what he was up to, and I texted him. I was like, "Hey, I just want to write an update on what you're up to." Like, and it turns out that there was a lot more to that story, and he wanted to get it out there. Like, "Hey, I'm not done with sports. Like, I'm still here. I just needed some time to literally go and find myself." So.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you've ever meditated, John.
At the time, honestly, I saw him in a couple of Butler basketball games this past year, and I asked him, for publication, just talking to him, hey, what do you plan? Are you going to come back? And at that time, the way he was talking at that time, I didn't think he was going to go back to sports. I didn't think he was going to go back to college.
He said he never doubted it.
I mean, he was, because just I'm not sure what I want to do yet, and just the way he talked, I thought he was mentally checking out of college and sports. But I'm glad to see him back.
Yeah, I know when I wrote the story on him last year, choosing basketball instead of football, people really liked that one. So I'm hoping that people also read that one. But what I'm excited for is to get my feet on the beach next week, and then the day we come back, the Butler Fair's here, the School Bus Demolition Derby, the day after I get back, and we're gonna be going.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Yes. Send me the dates. I'm going to be there. I think someone gave them that idea.
Oh boy.
No, I've been there like every year of my life. Like my parents met at the Butler Fair, and I've been going there every year of my life.
The other thing I'm curious about this summer is Lernerville Speedway going to get any racing in?
Right.
Because they've had 2 racing nights. I've never, all the years I've been in Butler, I've never seen them leading into the Firecracker 100 weekend only have 2 racing.
And it's raining all week.
Yeah, it is bizarre
Like,
what's happened to them.
I don't know if Saturdays. I haven't checked the forecast through Saturday, but like most of this week, it's
supposed
gonna
to
rain.
rain.
I think it's raining through Thursday, but I feel like Friday and Saturday are supposed to be no rain.
I don't know. I think
Maybe. Okay.
I think it's raining.
Who the heck
Well,
knows? It could
we
change.
don't have to worry about baseball and softball rainouts, and that's all
I think it's
care
raining.
about.
I think it's raining until October. I think. That's, I don't know.
So no summer. Awesome. Great.
All right. Well, thanks for joining, John. We'll talk
No
to
problem.
you later.
Got to do it.
I'm so excited.
We encourage you to subscribe to the Butler Eagle YouTube channel and Apple or Spotify podcast or your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Alter Eagle Podcast and at Butler Eagle News. Goodbye.